Peter Ibbetson is the only film in the 1,000 Greatest list directed by Henry Hathaway, a veteran of nearly 6 decades in Hollywood. Andrew Sarris described Hathaway as without complexes or neuroses, even when his material is saturated with them, though I'm not entirely sure if Peter Ibbetson supports this point. Based on a novel by George du Maurier, Peter Ibbetson tells the tragic story of two sweethearts separated as children by cruel fate, as symbolized by this tree branch. As adults, played by Gary Cooper and Anne Harding, the couple are reunited.
Hello.
Hello.
But only after Harding's character has married a jealous English duke.
Rather impertinent, I should say.
The film is gorgeous to look at, thanks to the work of legendary lensman Charles Lang. But otherwise, the film takes a while to find its footing, and even at 79 minutes, it seems to meander through its threadbare plot.
Are you sure?
Sure.
The film can't help but seem campy today, with Cooper's valiant attempts to affect a British accent.
Where?
Well, there's all London on the whole night.
We begin with gin bitters and barmaids and end up with an aching head.
What's wrong with that?
And there's even a very young Ida Lupino, trying her best to sound Cockney.
Why don't you try telling me in English?
Oh, you're English.
Rather. I knew you was English. I've been watching you sitting over there.
All the same, I'm genuinely interested to hear what esteemed Australian critic Adrian Martin has to say, as he voted for it as one of his top 10 films of all time in the 2002 Sight and Sound poll. There's an anecdotal account of its historical significance. According to the Time Out movie guide, French surrealist poet Paul Eluard discovered this film after following a woman he fancied down the streets of Paris and into a cinema where the film was playing. Its reputation spread among the French surrealists as a testament to their principle of inner vision as truth.
I mean...
You don't see just with your eyes. It's inside of you someplace. Some of them said it was dreams, but I says it's because I had to see that way.
Oh, sir. It's too much for me.
But that's because you ain't never had to make anything happen inside of you. You'll find out what's wrong. And it'll be there, Peter.
The film's surrealist passages occur when Cooper, imprisoned for killing Harding's husband, is able to reunite with Harding in his own dreams. This sequence takes up only the last 10 minutes or so of the film, but it is remarkable enough that I will include it here in its entirety as a vivid occurrence of surrealist cinema blending with sentimental Hollywood romanticism to create something truly strange, like a Paramount Studios adaptation of Louis Buñuel's L'Âge d'Or. Guy Madden, eat your heart out. This sequence is so unlike anything that came in the full hour before it, largely due to its highly expressive cinematography, that one wonders if the primary creative force behind it is indeed Lang and not Hathaway. Note the elegant symmetry of this cut, creating an arc of light and motion connecting the distant lovers in their sleep.
Mary.
One can just watch this sequence as the pure play of forms moving in light and shadow. 8 years after the advent of sound threatened to extinguish the innovations of the silent era, it seems that the cinema of F.W. Murnau was briefly resurrected in this sequence. Lang seems especially gifted at creating the curtains of light effect, which recurs throughout this sequence. This second movement of the sequence takes place outdoors in much brighter natural lighting conditions, but there's still an exquisite sense of delight in geometry set in motion through staging and camera work.
Look.
Bars are also a recurring motif, serving as both a window frame into their childhood memories and a reminder of the prison that still separates them in reality.
I didn't know whether it was really there. I was afraid.
But you needn't be afraid, Peter. The strangest things are true, and the truest things are strange.
Note Peter's gradual awakening to his own possibilities, symbolized by his shedding of his gray coat, revealing a shimmering bright shirt that matches his lover's immaculate frock.
There are tracks.
We made them in the mud yesterday, remember?
So we could walk in them when they dried.
For some reason, this footprint sequence strikes me as something right out of Buñuel or Cocteau or Maya Deren. At this point, with the montage of mountain climbing, the sequence approaches self-parody as both the editing and the acting strain to express this state of unbridled exuberance.
How clear it is.
Clear as the top of the world.
It is the top of the world.
Of course.
But is the movie in on the joke? Presumably non-diegetic music is suddenly acknowledged as diegetic, in which the moment seems to acknowledge its own Hollywood conventions.
Do you hear it?
Is it music?
Music, sir? I heard it today, and I brought it with me so you could hear it, too. I knew you'd like it.
And I have a gift for you. It's why I brought you here. Would you be good enough to look?
An image like this makes me wonder about the relationship between some forms of surrealist art and kitsch. For instance, I've always found an element of kitsch in Salvador Dali's art. You know, that same pornographically explicit expression of desire that I detect in this castle.
Let's go in. What's the matter?
We can't go in. A breath would blow it away.
Don't think such things. They'll come true. We're free forever as long as we live.
As long as we live.
As long as we live.
Listen. What's that?
The music of the organ, that's all.
Listen. Don't you hear it? It's the thunder of the world.
If you listen to that line a certain way, it's as if the writer were preempting those, like me for instance, who would denigrate the ludicrousness of this vision of happiness presented here. Does that make me part of the, quote, thunder of the world? Well, what's interesting then to think about is how consciously this sequence seems to be about its own ridiculousness, to the point that one could see it as a self-contained argument on behalf of the Hollywood kitsch aesthetic, highlighting the sheer untenableness of the images it dares to offer for public consumption, and wearing them like a badge of honor.
Mary.
It seems to say that we can all rattle and moan like the thunder of the world. I know I sure can. But to dream the simple, unabashed dreams of a child takes courage. As early as 1935, Hollywood was touting a pure regression to the childlike state, and people were buying it, then as now. The curtains of light here are almost beyond belief. But note that Peter's dark coat is back on. The film acknowledges the inevitable return to reality, but at the same time, it has laid an argument on behalf of the dream world of the screen as an eternal refuge, the perpetual promise of our innermost desires fulfilled, the place that won't let us go, the movies.
No more words. No more fears. They divide us. Maybe we are still too much tied to our bodies back there to be quite free, but always we can come here. We'll be with each other every possible moment.
Every moment.
As long as we live. For years and